Thank you very much for the platform and the opportunity to share my views on the Industry 4.0 and the smart factory transformation. So I'm the country director for Juniper Networks India, and it's my privilege to share my views with you today. So with that, so let's get going. I think the key part, this industry, what we talk as Industry 4.0, especially the manufacturing industry, has really come a long way. Beginning from the mechanization disruption which happened in early 1700s to the electrification which happened somewhere at the beginning of this century, where the PLCs and the electrification changed the whole dynamics of this industry. So now we are looking at is another huge disruption. So in our generation, I think this disruption that we are looking at is absolutely mind-boggling. So this is all about digitization and the automation. And the beauty about this transformation, it is not just impacting a one part or a one segment of the industry. The impact is across the board, across the sectors. So it will change the way we work, we live, we play, and we socialize across the board. And the way you see the impact on every aspect of the industry, we are talking about 3.9 to 11 trillion of money being spent on this transformation by 2025. And out of all this money, the big chunk is going into the smart factories. That is the topic of today's discussion. The optimization and the equipment operations, how that thing is going to transform. So we'll have a quick look and which are the technologies which will enable this transformation and give us the experience that the Industry 4.0 is looking at is the topic which I'll share with you in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So with all this money going in the transformation, what are we looking at? Which kind of experience that Industry 4.0 will deliver? On one side, this is talking about 24/7 operation leading to the increased productivity, leading to the better quality of the product coming out. The amount of downtime and the defect per product coming out goes down dramatically with a better quality production and the faster production. In turn, leading to a saving as per McKinsey, again, if you look at about 630 billion saving by 2025. So that is on one side. But second side, which is really mind-boggling, is the static part of an industry of this smart factory or the manufacturing, as we call it, is completely getting transformed into the dynamic and the flexible aspect of production, which essentially a user or the organization will be able to predict about the kind of demand and supply they are looking at. And they will get an ability to really fine-tune their responses and adapt as per the market trends and the market need or way the product is being consumed. So it's about an integrated supply chain and the shared economy that Industry 4.0 is looking at and the improved decision making as before. This further leads to the time to market based on the trend and based on the mass customization that the organization gets the ability to deliver in the smart factories. So overall, I think a mind-boggling transformation in the Industry 4.0 and the smart factory is what we are looking at. So this is what the experience is. Now, what will deliver this experience? Let's go a little deeper into that. The foundation of this experience starts from IT and the OT convergence. So IT network, information technology network, and the operational technology of the manufacturing industry. So these two networks have been working in isolation today. With Industry 4.0 and the smart factories, what we are looking at is IT and OT convergence, which will drive the operational excellence in the factory. So this is these two networks, which are working in silos, have their own kinds of devices. So every device in both these networks is getting transformed now, and we'll see it how. So this is a slide which captures the whole gist of what is happening in the Industry 4.0, and especially on a plant of the future as is depicted in the middle. So you can see that how the devices in the plants are changing. We are talking about 3D manufacturing, adaptive manufacturing, advanced manufacturing systems, robotic usage, and the autonomous vehicle, and advanced material which is being used in all these machines, which are now transformed as an IT-enabled machines. So there is a IP or Ethernet, which are integrated into these machines, which are coming in the plant of the future. And all these machines are deeply come with the sensors everywhere, which gives a great amount of awareness and integration, from the Internet of Things point of view, what we talk about, what we talk about, what is going on in the network at a given point of time in a real-time fashion. So this plant of future is not working in isolation. It is coming on the IT network, which is well integrated with this, which is linked to the cloud computing, ably implemented at every level with the required security and the big data tools, which will enable the right. So the way we are looking at the connectivity, the way we are looking at digitization, and the way we are looking at analytics is completely getting transformed as we look at the smart factories of the future. And they are well supported by the logistics 4.0 architectures. So having a relook at the IT architecture and the OT architecture and looking at converged view is the need of the hour and the way the CIOs are thinking right now. And the critical element in all this is the what we define as a very loose term is the Internet of Things, which is what the sensor-driven industry is coming up. That everything what is happening in a machine or in the network or in overall operations would be visible to the user at any given point of time. So with this view, let's see in the operations what exactly is happening. So the opportunity, the experience is definitely mind blowing. But when you go to IT OT convergence at that scale, the issue is not speed or a capacity. The issue is what is emerging is, as you can appreciate, is about the complexity. So there are three V's which are seen in motion. So one is about, of course, about the variety, which is about the different IoT devices and the protocols which are getting implemented from the sensors point of view, which each of them having a different use case and a different risk profile. Second side, with the so much interconnected world and the fact that the billions of new connections and the new data is getting generated, with the explosive and the unpredictable scaling of the traffic in the various use cases. So with the cloud, the scale is very easy, but with that, the volume of the traffic is also very easy. And the velocity of that, the rapid pace at which the deployment or the expansion is happening. Maybe it's a autonomous vehicle data or human data or health data, everywhere. So this three V's, when they are kind of getting into a sweet spot, intersection spot, this is becoming a complexity spot, not a sweet spot right now. So Juniper mission is to really simplify this sweet spot. So as our mission is that we bring simplicity to the networking with the product solution and the services, then the connected world. So this is where we focus in. Our whole effort in building products and the solution lies in making this part operationally simple for the user to operate in IT/OT convergence. Here's a snapshot of what goes into building this architecture. This is, so first of all, it's an open architecture based solution. Juniper specializes, many of you may know, Juniper specializes in building the mission critical transport end to end, starting from access to the data center. Our theme is client to cloud, seamless operation, seamless experience to be delivered to the user from client to the cloud. Starting here, the client is maybe a machines, the OT network, where this integration is happening at the factory level and the R&D offices level with the various standards which Juniper technology comes in, which goes to the WAN and then goes to the headquarters, which can be a data center or which can go to the public cloud with all the security built in. So overall, this converged architecture delivers a required insight to the users, to the organizations, which will lead to taking certain actions as per the demand, as per the the required operations at the factory level, which further lead to optimization and the automation of certain element which can be automated. So overall, everything in Industry 4.0 should surely be based on open architecture so that various things can be integrated. And Juniper, with the various Junos going into all these elements and with the integrated AI architecture, is able to give a control or a dashboard, which kind of gives makes every element in the chain strong and delivering a strong chain across the layers. Let me give you an example that the kind of simplicity we are turning that complex sweet spot which you have just seen. Take an example that we are doing this video call right now, or a video call is happening in the organization, any team, Zoom or Zoom call. So there, what happens if the Zoom call is not happening in a right way? What happens? The troubleshooting is not very easy. So can we look at a scenario that where when the Zoom call happens and the problem starts appearing, the system or the organization is able to troubleshoot in the real-time fashion. So the network connectivity can be Wi-Fi, can be wired, can be server cloud, can be client device. But the problem may be at the WAN. So the system on an automated basis in the real time is able to detect the problem lies in the van and automatically corrects the problem. That's the simplicity we are looking at from the user point of view. All the complexity of this entire chain goes to the backend, where the system or the tools or the AI-driven intelligence, which is integrated across the layer of Juniper product line, identifies that in real time the problem lies in the van. Imagine this into a manufacturing setup where the machines are operating and there is some challenge coming up. This entire architecture of IT/OT convergence would be able to find out the area where the problem lies and will slowly develop an ability to really correct that area on its own. That's called proactive automation, that we talk about. Of course, this point, it is very important to capture and understand that repetition is not a key here. The system learns, or the solution learns from the past to avoid the same issues which may happen again. So mistakes only happen once. Technology may go wrong, configuration may go wrong, but overall the system will develop an ability to really make sure that the same thing is not repeated again. Yeah, so to summarize that, what essentially is required in the systems and the solution in the architecture to deliver the kind of experience that we are looking at, the kind of simplicity that we are looking at. So the first element, of course, these are 4 pillars. You can imagine where the whole architecture is standing. So it's about delivering an assured user experience, which requires going down to the service level, to the client and the application level. Together, Juniper technology comes in with the tenets of all these 4 elements to give an SLA-driven experience to a particular, maybe a user or a machine here. In a machine-to-machine traffic, you are able to pinpoint that this is the kind of service level that I need for this particular machine, and you are able to measure that. This is what is required at the foundation level. Second, the product that you deploy should be cloud first and the cloud ready, so that the software as a service, the agility of this part, when it mates with the best-in-class hardware, is able to deliver a production environment in which there's no downtime. Essentially, imagine like operating a cell phone where all the apps are getting updated and updated, at the background. So this is where we are looking at the floor where all these machines are well integrated and the software takes care of an update without any downtime. Third pillar is about the self-driving automation, which is linked on 2 elements. One is the AI ops, the AI-driven operations, where you have a single dashboard with all the metrics defined, where you know how the whole machines are operating and where the threshold lies. And the ability of the system to really give you an insight that the problem which may happen in the times to come, your office will come to know that, yes, this is the area where the CIO office need to focus on to really do an upgrade or a configuration change. Second part, very critical part, is the intent-based networking. We are into a time where, for example, a shop floor or a data center you can design with the scripting that this is a particular way you want your entire floor to operate, your entire system to operate, and you define the programs and you feed in system, and the system implements that intent across the layers, right from the access to the cloud. So what we popularly call is the intent-driven networking. It is like the magic in motion. In the heterogeneous network, this has an ability to really make sure the intent is implemented and executed as the office demands, as the organization demands it. So this is the AI comes at a huge support here. And the last but not the least is the threat aware. With this automation, the security exposure, of course, become humongous. It's very important to make sure that all the point of connections are fully secured, be it the routers, switches, APs, and gateways. So Juniper solution overall makes sure that all the network elements are well protected, at every point of connection. So at the network level, Juniper delivers a fully secured and automated, cloud-driven with an assured experience network to the shop floor and the entire organization. So proof of pudding lies in eating. So again, this is one of the references that we have won recently. This is an organization which you come across almost daily in your life. They recently came in the electric two-wheeler segment. So they chose Juniper to deploy the Wi-Fi 6 across the campus with wired and the Wi-Fi fully integrated, delivering the assured user experience at every floor, including the data center, and with the micro-segmentation for IT and OT, with wrapped around with the security end-to-end. So all we talked about so far, this customer has purchased and this is in motion. And there are many customers in manufacturing. The Juniper presence, out of 5 customers, top customers you look at, 4 customers have chosen Juniper in the various bits and pieces. And all these customers are now moving into the automation and Industry 4.0 deployment as the sensors and the OT networks are changing. Last but not the least is what I talked about so far. It is really important for the customers, especially who have not interacted with Juniper or who have not deployed Juniper in some shape and form, that Gartner has rated Juniper consistently. If you look at the left section of these two blocks are the relevant ones from the Industry 4.0 point of view. So it talks about the data center and the cloud networking. Juniper has been a consistent leader for the last 3 years in running. And second, the first block on the left hand side is the 2021 wired and the wireless LAN access infrastructure. So this is about all the wireless gets deployed, all the APs and the controllers and the AI cloud, and this is about the switching that gets integrated. So user or a machine, when it moves from, for example, a scanning machine is moving from one access point to second access point, the location trapping ability or the ability so that the session is not dropping and there is not a delay so that the session is not lost. So Juniper has proven the technology to a way that we are furthest in the execution, much higher than the competition, a leader and much higher in execution. So these two are very, very critical elements you should look at as a takeaway. And also the right hand side, the bottom block is about the finding out the indoor location services, where we are the leaders again in the completeness of the mission. So overall, it's a very powerful story where we complete the execution and the vision on the transport layer, so that the user or the organization can focus on the applications and the deployment of the OT machines and the deployment of softwares tools, which helps you gain a full control of the operation. But from the foundation level, from the network level, technology level, we assure you that Juniper is there to take care of the end-to-end solution. So in the end, our philosophy, which runs across building our solution and the architecture and the pitch with the customers, is all about delivering the experience. So in the context of Industry 4.0, this is also about the user and the machine-to-machine experience, with the full control in the hands of the CIO office, wherein they can really enable the business the way it is required, the way the time to market is needed, the way the scale and the velocity need to be captured, because any technology can work at a particular lower scale. But when you scale it up with a variety, it requires a very professional and the experience and the proven technology to showcase that. So with all assurance, the Juniper, very confidently, with the proof of pudding, what we have delivered so far with the top manufacturing customers, we assure you that we have all the elements of the solution which you can confidently deploy to take it to the Industry 4.0 experience.